So, InfinityWar. Let's talk. I guess basically we can all agree that it was a good film in terms of like the filmmaking itself and the cinematography and the character development especially. I really enjoyed that. So yes, just in general, putting it out here before I start the rant and the talk and the discussion and all that, I really enjoyed the film as a film. With that said, I think we can also all agree that we're all dead inside now because they killed all the characters and all the wrong characters. They separated Bucky and Cap, which for me is just like, I still feel like all the tiny little needles inside my heart because it's just, how dare they do that? You don't just separate Cap and Bucky, it's just not okay. And Loki, and I mean Nick Fury doesn't die, and especially not in such a lame way. But I'm now emotionally ready, and I have some theories I want to talk about and some details I want to talk about, because I've seen a lot of like general talk about the film, but not so much in detail, and especially not the details I want to talk about, so let's do that. I'm just gonna go through it chronologically, more or less, and with all of this, if you have any opinions on this, if you have any theories, if you have thoughts on my theories or my opinions, please let me know, please! I love Marvel discussions so much, and I have so many thoughts. And I have a year now to kind of develop all of those thoughts. So let's start with Loki. Well, first of all, there's the scene where he says we have a Hulk, which is adorable because it's obviously a reference to the earlier movies, and I just think it's wonderful that first of all that implies that he and Hulk are kind of buddies now and work together and had planned that or something. And also that he said we have a Hulk because it means that he thinks he's part of we, and that's just so sweet. Loki says you'll never be a god. And obviously in that scene, when I first saw that and like in that moment, it sounds like he's saying that to Thanos. Like he's saying you will never be a god right before he dies. However, being me, I overthought that a little bit. And now I have a really sad interpretation of that kind of kills me, and I don't know why I do this to myself. So I kind of think that he didn't say that to Thanos, but kind of to himself. That he doesn't mean you will never be a god, you, Thanos, will never be strong enough to kill us all or something like that. But instead he means I, Loki, will never be a god. I, Loki, will never be good enough. I, Loki, will never be able to survive or be good enough to be saved. Which is another thing. I mean, he saved Thor, and Thor, the god of freaking thunder, just sits there and lets his brother die and doesn't do anything. So, I mean, we all know I don't like Thor, but does he really have to do this? Like, he could have at least tried. He was like in chains and everything. I kind of understand that. He could have tried, but I kind of get that. But then we have the situation that Thor is flying around in space and meets the Guardians, and he doesn't take 5 minutes to say, yes, someone floating here is also my brother, who I think is dead. Can we please pick him up and like give him a funeral or something? Because, I mean, Star-Lord did that, Peter Quill did that, Thor could have also. He just let his dead brother fly in space and just kind of, yeah, crumble into pieces or whatever happens to people in space. Then we have the wonderful Hulk Bruce Banner theme going on, and I was so happy with that because finally we have like a dynamic between the two, and there's character development and there's like a spotlight on the situation with Bruce Banner and Hulk, and with Hulk being a part of him. And I have my own interpretation of what happened, but the friend with whom I saw it also had her interpretation, and the more I think about it, the more I enjoy her interpretation, so I'm just going to talk about both of them. Because obviously Bruce Banner has been Hulk for 2 years, and he still isn't quite sure what happened during that time, and Hulk kind of took over and was, yeah, in control, as Bruce Banner says, and I hate that we don't get more information on that in the films. I've read the comics about all of that, and that's another reason why I think it's so important to see that in the films, but we just don't get it. So I love that we now get this conflict, that Hulk doesn't want to come out and that he really just says no. And that was so brilliant, because for me it was the case of Hulk had his 2 years now, he's been in control, but he also knows that he can't be in control all the time, and that it's really dangerous at the moment to take control again, because it could mean that he loses Bruce forever. And I think that in this situation he just wanted Bruce to kind of keep control, he wanted Bruce to stay there, and he also, to me it was the case of Hulk wanting to show Bruce that he could also win himself, that he doesn't need the Hulk to defeat his enemies, that he doesn't need the Hulk to win, that he can do that himself, that he's intelligent and strong and all of that. And for me it was a message from Hulk to Bruce that he wants to be a team again, and I really enjoyed that. And my friend interpreted it in the way that Hulk doesn't want to hurt anyone anymore. And I thought that was adorable, especially because we had those 2 years in which Hulk was a professional fighter and he couldn't control himself, in the sense that he was told to fight and he did it. And it didn't matter whom he was fighting, he just, probably killed a lot of them. And now that he doesn't have to do that anymore, he doesn't want to, and he's kind of, I guess, reflecting on those 2 years and realizing how many people he's hurt, and he doesn't want to do that anymore. He doesn't want to be the killer machine anymore, and he doesn't want Bruce to think that Hulk is only there to kill, to hurt, to defeat. And yeah, the combination of those two theories just makes me all giggly and tingly and happy. Ooh. This isn't chronological, but just about Bucky and Cap again, because I love Bucky. But Bucky is the character that's kind of bittersweet, because every time he shows up, we know, or like previously, in every film he's been previously, except for the first Cap, whenever the Winter Soldier or Bucky shows up, we always know that something's gonna go wrong, and we always know that either he or Cap will get hurt. And it was always this bittersweet thing of being happy that he's there and being happy that the two are reunited, and then also like this anticipation of something really, really bad going down. And in Infinity War, for the first time ever, Bucky shows up and I'm just happy. There's no bad thing, there's no like inner conflict, there's no self-hatred of Bucky, there's just Cap and Bucky hugging each other and being glad to be together again. And I was so damn happy in that scene, which is why it hurts so much that they then separated them. It's not so much that they killed Bucky, because I mean, those two are so old and they've been there for so long and they've been through so much. So it's kind of a relief for the characters to kind of be done now, and especially for Bucky to have found peace before going. I just wish that they could be together, because I don't want Cap to go through that again. I want them to be together. The death of Vision and Wanda, especially with what I said before about Bucky and Cap, I don't think it's bad that both of them died. Obviously, I want them to come back. I don't want them to be dead. We need them. Especially with Inhumans coming up, we kind of need Wanda. We also still need Pietro, who I'm still crossing my fingers and still believing that he's not dead. They're all gonna come back. They're all gonna be happy. Someone said that Vision was gonna die alone just like Wanda was gonna die alone. That's the scene where Natasha said she's not alone, which is also brilliant. Love that. And yeah, they didn't die alone. Obviously they died like after each other, but they didn't die alone. They had the chance of being together and they didn't have to suffer from one of them being gone and the other person missing them. They died together, and I just think it's kind of poetic. It's this kind of Romeo and Juliet thing, even though I hate Romeo and Juliet and think it's stupid that they die. And then the big one. The big theories about how this is all gonna go on. Because obviously they're not dead. They're all coming back. Or, to be honest, I think some of them might stay dead. I really do believe that some of them will come back. As I said, we have Inhumans coming up, so we kind of need Wanda, and I think we have future Spider-Man films coming up, so we need him. I think we also need Doctor Strange back. And I have some theories about that. The first one, like the one I went into the film with, the one that I kind of made up beforehand, was that Doctor Strange would keep the Time Stone, that Thanos wouldn't get all of the Infinity Stones in the first film, and that he could like go back in time. That's also something, like why did he go into the future to see all the possible ways this could play out and realize that they basically couldn't win, instead of going back and turning back time and just kind of either destroying Thanos before he could even get the first stone, or being more prepared or something like that. Why didn't he like go back? That was my first theory before watching the film, that at the end of Infinity War 1, Doctor Strange would turn back time to kind of the beginning of Infinity War 1, and then in Infinity War 2 we would basically get like the same time frame as this film, just with a better ending. Now, I still believe that that will happen, but I now believe that Thanos will be the one to turn back time. And I know that sounds kind of weird because he got what he wanted. He basically won. But he said he lost everything, or he had to sacrifice everything. And I think that he didn't really win, in his opinion, that he got what he planned on doing, but he didn't get what he wanted. Young Gamora asked him whether he did it. And he kind of looked like he was inferior to her. Like, it kind of sounded like she was asking whether he had done her wish or her bidding. And yeah, I kind of felt like part of this was her fault and part of this was maybe her idea, especially because Thanos said to Gamora that she was once like him and as determined as him, and maybe during that time they came up with the whole universe plan together. Maybe in the beginning he only wanted the Infinity Stones, or he only wanted to do the kill half the planet thing on some planets that were actually like really in danger or something like that, and then she came along and said let's do it with the whole universe or something like that. It just felt like she had a big part in this plan. Without her there, he doesn't really win because they can't celebrate together. And to me it looked like when he comes back from this kind of meeting young Gamora and goes back to the real thing where he has the gauntlet and where he just destroyed half the universe basically, to me he looked confused and surprised, and maybe surprised that he was confused, and I took that as him suddenly realizing that he's not satisfied, that he's not happy, that actually what he just won wasn't what he really wanted, or it wasn't the way he wanted to do this. He's gonna turn back time and try to do it better, or try to find a way to not kill Gamora. In the trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp, and kind of in the build-up of the first Ant-Man film, it felt like they were gonna go into the atomic dimension. Is that what they call it? Like the small dimension in which Ant-Man goes, and in which the mother was lost and all that stuff. So it kind of looks like they find a way to go in there and also come back out. And since all the characters that now died in Infinity War kind of were destroyed in a way that they still exist because they were like those ashes, maybe with this really small dimension they find a way to put those ashes back together and kind of, you know, take all the atoms of all those people and put them back into human form. That would be cool. That would be really cool. And I kind of hope that that happens. Also kind of hope that Thanos isn't as bad as we think, but maybe both happens. We'll see. Yes. So that's kind of my take on all of this. As I said, please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I really enjoy discussing this. Also, if you have any thoughts on my theories, if you think they're total bullshit, just let me know. And I hope you always have a reason to smile, and I shall see you soon. Bye!